And the way he's playing, he's trying to solidify his position as a quarterback of the future. We all know that Michael Vick, drafted #1 last year, is waiting in the wings. I also talked to Dan Reeves, and I asked him about making the playoffs. He says, Marcus, stranger things have happened. Back to Jim in New York.
Yeah, there's some.
It's a beautiful afternoon in South Florida as Fox Sports welcomes you to Week 16 in the NFL from Pro Player Stadium in Miami. It's the Miami Dolphins hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Dolphins starters introduced to this sellout crowd as they hope to clinch a playoff spot today. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the NFL on Fox. I'm Kenny Albert with Tim Green. Dolphins have gone to the playoffs the last 4 seasons, and with a win today, they are in. Falcons, Tim, not yet officially eliminated, but it would take a miracle.
I think for the Dolphins, the important thing is they control their own destiny. A win today puts them into the playoffs. More importantly, Kenny, they had 2 rough weeks on the road. They only scored 1 touchdown in the past 2 weeks. They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth.
Dolphins offensively, part of the reason for those struggles, the injuries at the wide receiver position.
Well, that's right, but all 3 wide receivers, their top wide receivers, are going to play today. But don't forget, the Dolphins are a running team. They want to run the football. But if they can't, today is the day to get it going with these wide receivers against the Falcons. Falcons have the 31st ranked last pass defense in the National Football League. So if they can't run early, look for the Dolphins to go to those wideouts.
Falcons with a 500 record, 7-7. Big win over Buffalo at home last week. Chris Chandler, career high, 431 passing yards.
And despite the fact that the Falcons are almost out of it, mathematically alive, Chris Chandler has the capacity to beat anyone at any time. And you just said he threw for 400 last week. He's got a great ball. If he gets things going, he's going to be very dangerous. It's going to be tough for him today, though, because his wide receivers are going to face these 2 guys, Sam Madison, Patrick Surtain, 2 of the most physical cornerbacks in the league. Watch for them to get up on the line of scrimmage, knock those wide receivers around. So Chandler may have to go to his tight end and his fullback if he wants to get the pass going.
Well, the Dolphins clinch a playoff position with a victory. That would also eliminate Atlanta, and Tampa Bay would be in as well. A beautiful day for football in Miami.
You're watching the NFL on Fox. Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Back in Miami, the 3rd member of our broadcast team today is Paul Kennedy, and he's with Dolphins coach Dave Wannstedt.
All right, Kenny. Dave, when it's all said and done, you're in an enviable position. You win, you're in.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do today. I mean, we got to come out and play a complete game, put it all together, offense, defense, and special teams, and get it started early.
After the struggles of the past 2 weeks, how do you get your offense going early?
Well, we just got to execute better. I mean, you know, the players are doing everything they can. We got a good game plan. We just can't turn the ball over, and it comes down to execution. That's what it was last 2 weeks. It won't be any different today.
Dave, thanks. Sure. Upstairs to Kenny and Tim.
Yeah, Kenny, turnovers has been the undoing of the Miami Dolphins. In the 5 games they've lost, they've turned it over 20 times with no takeaways. So it's a -20 differential in those 5 losses.
And they've committed 7 turnovers over the last 2 weeks, the losses to the 49ers and the Patriots. Falcons have won the toss. Derek Vaughn back deep, awaiting Lindo Mare's opening kickoff, and we are underway in Miami. Vaughn 2 yards deep in the end zone. And he is stopped at the 12-yard line. Only a 15-yard return. Sean Wooden downfield to make the tackle on special teams.
There's the special teams element.
So Chris Chandler, the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week, leading the Falcons offense onto the field for the first time. 2 rookie starters on the offensive line, Garza and Forney. Tony Martin, the ex-Dolphin, along with Terrence Mathis, Smith and Christian in the backfield, and the tight end is Reggie Kelly. 1st and 10 Falcons from their own 13-yard line. Chandler is taken down on 1st down. Zach Thomas leading the way along with Jason Taylor. A loss of 8 on the play.
Well, Chris Chandler has nowhere to go to. Just what we spoke about. Wide receivers out in the formation. They're unable to get open against those cornerbacks of the Miami Dolphins. And now here comes the pressure. It's a blitz right away, and Zach Thomas comes clean. Chandler crunched.
So Chandler sacked on the first play from scrimmage. Now second down and 18 from the 5. Hand off to the fullback, Bob Christian. And he gains 5 yards out to the 10, setting up 3rd and 13. Dolphins with the 4th-ranked defense in the NFL. Jermaine Haley is out, so Lorenzo Bromell starts at left end. Kenny Mixon moves inside. Scott Gallion starting for the injured Derek Rogers. And a terrific secondary. Madison and Surtain, the corners. Marion and Walker, the safeties.
You notice, Kenny Mixon, normally a defensive end, he slid inside to play tackle because of the injuries to Jermaine Hale. Of course, Daryl Gardner before that.
Chandler's pass on 3rd and 13 is caught for a first down by Terrence Mathis, a gain of 15 yards.
Yeah, Terrence Mathis makes a nice catch, but Chandler takes a pounding after this. Watch the pressure come. So he gets this ball off, but then he gets hit. And here you see there's that pressure on the cornerbacks. So Tony Martin under the press coverage. Mathis slips behind in the zone.
So the Falcons pick up the first down on 3rd and long. 3 wide receivers set. Maurice Smith looks to cut it outside. And Zach Thomas again in to make the play for the Dolphins defense.
This is an area where the Falcons have struggled, and quite frankly, people think the Miami Dolphins defense has struggled. Stopping the run, the Falcons trying to get the run going. Maurice Smith started this season out pretty good. But over the last 6 weeks, he's had a turf toe, and he really has not given the Falcons the run game they need. Their best runner, Kenny, has been their fullback, Bobby Christian. Look at that right there. First 8 games, 4.1 a carry. Last 6, 2.2.
And a loss of 3 on his first carry today. Chandler to the air. On 2nd and 13, looks to set up a screen. Maurice Smith, the intended receiver, so another 3rd and 13 coming up.
That's a shame, because if Maurice Smith had caught that ball, he had some good blockers in front of him. The Miami defense, their focus is to get upfield. They want to pound on Chris Chandler. So here comes that rush. It's only a 3-man rush, but see that? He's got 3 blockers out there, and Chandler knew it. I mean, he knew that baby was going to be a first down. You got to make that catch if you're Maurice Smith.
Falcons have scored 6 opening drive touchdowns this year, most in the NFL. Another 3rd and 13. Chandler this time forced to throw it away, and he took another hit.
Yeah, Chandler has been pounded on almost every pass play. And you know what they're doing is they're bringing Zach Thomas late. They used this last week. Watch Thomas. He's going to kind of float out, and then he sees where the quarterback goes, and then he comes on the blitz. And he and Bromell make a Chandler sandwich.
So Chris Moore back at his own 9-yard line. Dedrick Ward and Jeff Ogden back deep for the Dolphins. Good hang time. And a fair catch called for by Dedrick Ward at the 32-yard line. 44-yard punt by Moore. Back in Miami, Kenny Albert with Tim Green and Paul Kennedy. Miami Dolphins go on offense for the first time.
And Kenny, we said the Dolphins may not try the run very long. Well, they're starting right out with 3 wide receivers. So they're already forcing the Falcons to put their nickel defense out on the field and attack the Falcons where they are weakest, in the passing game.
Chambers joining Gadsden and McKnight. 1st and 10, 33-yard line. Fiedler to the air on first down, deflected and picked off by Ray Buchanan. Buchanan down the sidelines to the Dolphins' 28-yard line. A return of 27 yards.
Well, they went after the Falcons, but they went after the Falcons in the seam with the tight end, and Keith Brooking does a fantastic job of reacting to the play, getting a good drop, and then tipping this ball. Watch Brooking. Here he is right here. Look at him. Watch him drop. He gets a deep drop. He gets up. He tips that ball. It goes right over Weaver and into Ray Buchanan's hands. Excellent defense by the Falcons' big play defender, Keith Brooking.
So the Falcons take over in Dolphins territory on the 29-yard line. Maurice Smith turns the corner. Forced out of bounds at the 13-yard line after a gain of 16.
That's the kind of running that Maurice Smith did early in the season. Of course, Maurice Smith, the Falcons answered to replace Jamal Anderson, who was injured again. And Smith, when he's healthy, he has the ability to take the corner, and then you see he'll pound those defensive backs when he gets downfield. That was the best first down play the Falcons have had, Kenny.
They had gone backwards on their previous 2 first down plays. From the 13-yard line, it's Smith again. Down to the 11. Gain of 2. 2nd and 8 coming up.
That was a nice play by Tim Bowens. And I talked earlier about how there's a perception. Now, the Dolphins defense has given up more yards per game since Daryl Gardner's been hurt. But if you break it down play by play, they've actually given up about the same, about 4 yards on every play. So in one way, their run defense isn't as good, but in another way, play by play, it's been just as sound.
Teams have been running more, therefore they have picked up more yards on the ground. 3 wide receivers set, 2nd and 8. The handoff to the fullback, Christian. And he gains 4 yards down to the Dolphins 7. Lorenzo Bromell made the tackle.
Bobby Christian, as I said, he has been the best runner for the Falcons, and I don't know, though, if the Falcons felt they would have a lot of success, because here are the numbers that I was just talking about. So once Daryl Gardner left, you see what teams did. They had a lot more yards per game, but look at the average over here. They were actually better without Daryl Gardner.
3rd down and 4 from the Miami 7-yard line. Somebody jumped. Free play for Chandler. Bernie Kukar, our referee today.
Offside, 91 defense, half the distance to the goal, still 3rd down.
Lorenzo Bromell, and he's the guy that replaced Kenny Mixon. So Mixon slid to the inside with Hale's injury, and Bromell came in and took over for the spot vacated by Haley.
So the Dolphins without 2 starting defensive linemen, Haley and Daryl Gardner. Gardner underwent back surgery. Haley out with a left calf strain.
And you can see Kenny Mixon, just looking at him there, you can see that he's a leaner figure than your other guys, you know, than Bowens. I mean, you look at Bowens and you look at Mixon, and Mixon looks like a beanpole next to Bowens, although he's not, but he's a defensive end. So he really is playing out of position.
Following the penalty, 3rd down and 1 from the Dolphins 4-yard line. Mathis in motion. Christian dives over the top and looks to have the 1st down. He does.
Yeah, and as I said, Bobby Christian has become the most reliable thing about the Falcons' running game. And on this play here, this last play, he ran right through Mixon. And so we talked about Mixon being a defensive end and a guy that's used to playing on the edge. But if you watch Mixon right here in the front, he breaks through and he gets a shot on Bobby Christian, but Christian is able to twist and spin through for the 1st down.
Christian with Smith in the backfield. First and goal from the 2-yard line, and Smith is in for the touchdown. Maurice Smith gives the Falcons the early lead.
And again, the Miami Dolphins find that their undoing comes at the hands of a turnover. Jay Fiedler throws an interception. Falcons offense does a marvelous job of just marching right down the remainder of the field and punching it in on the ground.
5th touchdown run of the season for Maurice Smith. Jay Feely out for the point after. Falcons capitalize on the interception. Buchanan with the pick, and then Smith into the end zone for Atlanta. Him following those turnovers, second in the NFL. Buchanan intercepting Fiedler's pass, and then Maurice Smith gives the Falcons the first quarter lead. Kickoff picked up at the 6 by Brock Marion. 10-yard return out to the 16-yard line. Falcons over the Dolphins early, 7-0.
Dolphins backup players Grant and Bromell here getting blocked, and there's right where Maurice Smith runs and pretty much untouched into the end zone. So the Falcons taking advantage of some injuries on the Dolphins defensive line.
Now the Dolphins go back to work from their own 17-yard line. Fiedler intercepted on Miami's first play from scrimmage. 3 wide receiver set. Travis Minor in the backfield. He takes the handoff and gains about 1.5 yards out to the 19. Well, Jay Fiedler just 11 yards shy of 3,000 for the season, 5th in the AFC. Dolphins offensive line, they've allowed only 21 sacks all season in 14 games. Gaston and McKnight, the wide receivers, and Dion Dyer starting at fullback for the injured Rob Conrad. Again, 3 wide receivers. Empty backfield on 2nd and 9. Fiedler pump fakes, can't find anyone, and is taken down. Brady Smith along with Shane Dronette.
Well, that's excellent pass rush by Shane Dronette. Travis Hall made the tackle on the first play of this series. It was a run play. Watch Shane Dronette. He drives right up through here, and he gets the pressure on Fiedler, gets a hand on him, and then Brady Smith is able to finish him off. So good play by the 2 defensive tackles for the Falcons.
First Falcons sack the last 3 games. 4 wide receivers. Fiedler from the shotgun, swings it out, incomplete. He was looking for Travis Minor at a penalty marker.
And it's against the Dolphins holding, and the Miami Dolphins, Kenny, are looking as flat as they did in the last 2 weeks.
71 offense. That penalty's declined, 4th down.
When they were shut out by the San Francisco 49ers and then pretty much dominated by the New England Patriots. Not playing right now as if a spot in the playoffs were on the line.
No, Dolphins were 9-3 before those 2 consecutive defeats, and they trail here 7-0. Darian Gordon, the NFL's leading punt returner, is back deep. And he's run into by his own man. And do one of the Falcons touch it?
Nope, they're saying no one did.
Chris Hudson backed into Gordon, but the ball did not graze off a Falcon, so it will be Atlanta football in Dolphins territory. The initial call was that the ball did not hit a Falcon. And the call stands.
The ball was not touched by the receiving team. First touching by the kicking team. 1st down, Atlanta.
So for the 2nd consecutive possession, the Falcons will start in Dolphins territory, leading 7-0. And Atlanta starting from the Miami 47-yard line following the punt. Rodney Thomas now in the backfield, and he takes the handoff from Chandler and gains 3 yards down to the Dolphins' 44-yard line, setting up 2nd and 7. Are you looking for the perfect way to ring in the new year? We introduce the Best Damn Sports Show period with host Chris Rose, Tom Arnold, and a bunch of ex-jocks. It's the only show that gives you sports comedy, commentary, scores, and highlights. So stay home, avoid the crowds, check out the Best Damn Sports Show period. Now available weeknights only on Fox Sports Net. Christian and Thomas, the backs, behind Chandler. 2nd and 7. It's Thomas again. Rodney Thomas down to the Dolphins' 39-yard line, a gain of 5. Zach Thomas made the tackle. It will be 3rd and 2.
Kenny, one of the reasons why a lot of teams have been running the football against the Miami Dolphins is they play cover 2, and that means the 2 safeties are deep. So they only have 7 guys in here to stop the run. And when you only have 7, that means you've got 7 blockers. You can put a man on a man, as the Falcons do on that play, and pick up positive yardage.
Chandler on 3rd and 2, complete for the first down to the former Dolphin, the 2-time Miami Dolphin, Tony Martin, gain of 4 yards on the play.
And this time, the Dolphins did not have that press coverage that we talked about. Well, they weren't in their base defense. They're in a short yardage defense. They're looking for the Falcons to run the football. So they crowd the line of scrimmage, and then that gives Tony Martin a little bit of room. And when Tony Martin has a little bit of room, he's usually going to create some separation and become an open target. See, there's the press right there. There's those cornerbacks up there pressing.
From the 35, Rodney Thomas with Algie Crumpler leading the way, gains just 1. 2nd and 9 upcoming.
The Falcons, though, right now, Kenny, they're controlling the game. I mean, they had the turnover early, and then they marched right down and scored. And then they forced Miami to punt. They shut them down. The offense was doing nothing. They got it in good territory, and now they got a first down, and they're on the move, and they've had the ball 8 minutes, while Miami's only had it 1:45.
Under 5 minutes to go, first quarter. Chandler to Christian on 2nd and 9. Christian gains 1 down to the Dolphins' 33. 3rd and 8 coming up after we check in with James Brown.
All right, Kenny, take a look at what the Bears are doing. 2nd touchdown toss by Jim Miller. This in the first quarter. 20-yard strike to David Terrell. Bears on top. 14-0 over the Lions. Back to Kenny Albert and the author, Tim Green.
Hey, JB. Hey, author or not, I don't know Howie with that Villanova reference of the Rubicon. He lost me on that one. The Caesar reference in the pregame show. You look at the Bears. I mean, they are on the door of their first playoff berth in a very long time.
Terrence Mathis trying to extend for the first down, but looked like he's about 1 yard shy.
Well, it's a nice pass play, Kenny, but again, the Dolphins defense are wearing Chris Chandler down. You see there earlier, I mean, he was taking a pounding. He was down in the turf. And then on that last play there, even though it was a completion, Chris Chandler took another hard hit.
Falcons send out the field goal unit as we take another look.
Here's that last play there. And it was a beautiful catch by Mathis. And then you see him there. He tries to extend that ball because you're marked where the ball is when you're either down or out of bounds. So it's where the ball is where the mark is.
And Jay Feely, as you see, is perfect on the road this year. 12 of 12. This a 44-yard attempt. Chris Moore is the holder. And Feely's kick is blocked. Kenny Mixon got a piece of it.
Well, Mixon may have gotten a piece of it, but I think Jimmy Kimmel could have blocked that one because Feely just totally stubs this ball and drives it right into the line. So watch the trajectory of this kick. It's going right for the line. That kick has to be up and over the lineman, and this thing goes right into the line of scrimmage. So this is all on Feely here, and you see there was a good hold. Watch that ball right there. It just goes right into the line of scrimmage.
Feely, one of the heroes last week, Tim, for the Falcons, kicked the game-winning 52-yard field goal against Buffalo as time expired.
So the first thing that goes right for the Miami Dolphins in this game, where the playoffs are on the line, is really a thing that goes wrong for the Falcons. I mean, it was more what the Falcons didn't do than what the Dolphins did do.
So the Dolphins get the ball back. They've run only 4 plays so far for a total of -5 yards.
This is the first time we've seen them not come out in a 3 wide receiver formation. So maybe they're just going to try to get back to basics and run the football.
From the 34, the pitch to Lamar Smith. And Smith is met by Patrick Kearney. No gain on the play for Smith.
Falcons right now defensively just totally controlling the line of scrimmage. I mean, we've seen these guys get pressure on Fiedler when he's dropped back to pass, and we've seen them just smother the run on the few times that Miami has run. They've only run twice. They've only gained a single yard.
3 wide receivers set on 2nd and 10. Little shovel pass to Travis Minor, but 2 Falcons were right there.
Yeah, Travis Hall read that thing beautifully. And you know what it is too, Kenny, is he's controlling his guy. Here's Travis Hall right here. Watch him. He works right up through Todd Perry and he drives him back. And so then he's right there waiting as soon as Travis Minor gets that shovel pass. So Travis Hall, working against an injured Todd Perry, owns the line of scrimmage right now. And Dronette seems to have control of the other side as well.
Loss of 3 on the play. Empty backfield, 5 wideouts for the Dolphins. Fiedler under pressure, gets the pass away, and it's incomplete. Deflected off the hand of Chris Chambers, and the Dolphins offense hearing the boos from the home crowd.
Yeah, well, Kenny, it just looks bad. I mean, here they are. They come out. They can't run the ball. They turn the ball over, and then they come out with 5 people out in the pass pattern. This is where the Falcons have been abominable all season, and they're getting pressure on Fiedler, and the receivers are covered downfield. So nothing is going right for the Miami Dolphins so far.
Fiedler has as many completions to the Falcons secondary as he does to his own teammates. And that was on the shovel pass. Fair catch called for by Darian Gordon at the 21-yard line. A 48-yard punt by Matt Turk. Well, Tim, Fox tonight, start your New Year's celebration early with the best night of television. Blast off with Futurama, then it's King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Malcolm in the Middle, and The X-Files. The New Year's Bash kicks off tonight at 7, 6 Central, right here on Fox.
I may catch The X-Files. I'm going to be right here, staying with my wife Alyssa and my kids, right here in Sunrise.
And I'm sure you have the VCR set for the others.
Well, I won't even need the VCR. I'll be home for dinner.
Falcons start from their own 21-yard line. The handoff to Robbie Thomas, and he's bottled up in the backfield by Tim Bowens.
And maybe part of the reason they're able to stop the run, Kenny, is the Dolphins have abandoned their normal 2 safeties deep. Watch right here. See, they bring Brock Marion up, and so that makes 8 in here. And if you've got 8 in there, that means that defensive linemen and linebackers can each take a gap. And that's what Bowens does. He just takes a gap, and he gets upfield and makes this tackle in the backfield. See, right now they're back to what they did. The 2 safeties are back deep again.
Chandler on 2nd and 10. It's picked off by Brock Marion. Touchdown, Dolphins.
That's what happens when you play two safeties deep. That's why the Dolphins do it. That's why they've tied this football game.
Brock Marion, a Pro Bowler a year ago. His 4th interception of the season. And a club record tying 5th touchdown this year for the Dolphins defense. Murray adds the point after. 2nd career interception return for a touchdown by Brock Marion. Dolphins scoring their 5th defensive touchdown. Zach Thomas, week 1 against the Titans. Jason Taylor, a 1-yard fumble return against the Patriots. Patrick Surtain, week 8 against the Carolina Panthers. And then Kenny Mixon returned this interception 56 yards against the Denver Broncos. So the Dolphins, with Brock Marion's 26-yard return, have tied a club record with their 5th defensive touchdown.
Tony Martin lost that ball, Kenny, behind the umpire. And that's right where he lost his vision on the ball. He didn't even get his hands up. And Marion, playing the safety over the top, covering the deep ball, picks it off.
So the Dolphins defense picking things up after a sluggish start by their offense once again. Derek Vaughn from the 8-yard line. Vaughn out across the 25 to the 29.
Well, Kenny, let's take another look, and you can see what I was talking about. Tony Martin is going to come right across the field here. And when he gets here, that's when Chandler's going to throw the ball. And he loses his vision. See the umpire right there? So he loses it, never gets his hands up. And there's Brock Marion. He's the safety over the top. They're playing two safeties deep. And he's just waiting for that one.
So you give an assist to the umpire, Bill Schuster.
You have to give an assist to the umpire. Well, you have to give the credit to Brock Marion. You have to give credit to the Dolphins for tempting the Falcons into that play by playing an 8-man front on 1st down.
Here's Maurice Smith on 1st and 10. Gains 3 out to the 31-yard line. Falcons scored first, the 2-yard touchdown run by Smith following the interception by Ray Buchanan on the Dolphins' first play from scrimmage. But Brock Marion, with the Dolphins' 5th defensive touchdown, ties the score as time winds down in this first quarter here in Miami. 2nd down and 7. Mathis in motion. Chandler looking downfield, can't find anyone, and then takes off. Zach Thomas brings him down, no gain on the play. A penalty marker on the field.
Well, I'll tell you, Chandler got his helmet nearly knocked off.
Bernie Kukar signals the penalty against the Falcons.
Probably going to be holding on Bob Whitfield.
74 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down. That is the end of the first quarter.
So after one from Miami, Falcons and Dolphins tied at 7. Dolphins and Falcons are tied at 7. Kenny Albert along with Tim Green. And Tim, a slow start for the Dolphins offense, but they were picked up by the defense.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Dolphins looked like they had the same cobwebs they had the last 2 weeks against San Francisco. And what happened is, and against New England, and what happened is they came out with that big defensive turnover, and that seems to have cleared it. I mean, you can sense the energy that the Dolphins now have, not only out on the field, but certainly in the stands. The crowd seems to be into this game a little bit more than the start where they were just completely lethargic.
Second down and 17 for the Falcons from the 21-yard line. Penalty flag as Chandler's pass is incomplete. He was looking for Terrence Mathis.
Illegal hands to the face, and I know whose face it was because Lorenzo Bromell has lost his helmet on that play, and he was pointing at Ephraim Salaam.
Illegal use of hands. Number 74 offense. Hands to the face. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Yeah, it's tough to get away with a penalty like that when you tear the guy's headgear off.
Yep. Nowhere to hide.
Here's Salaam right here at the top, and he gets that hand right up under the mask, and there goes the helmet. So it's a good call by the officials. And now the Falcons are in just awful position. And the Falcons have been in this position a lot. They've not had a lot of success on first down, either today or most of the season. And that puts Chris Chandler in a known pass situation. Then you can either blitz him or you can send a lot of people into coverage.
Falcons keep it on the ground with Bob Christian. Oh, he takes a big hit from Zach Thomas. And another penalty marker.
Ephraim Salaam looked like he may have taken someone else's helmet off. Patrick Surtain without his headgear this time.
Does Salaam have something against helmets?
Just when they're on the opposition's head. No.
It's a personal foul against the Dolphins.
Well, Surtain lost his headgear and then he retaliated.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 23 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, it's too bad that penalty because it takes away what was a really nice defensive play by Zach Thomas. I mean, Thomas played that to perfection. The play was strung out, and he just hammers Bobby Christian. Take a listen to this. That's beautiful football, the crack of the pads.
And the penalty, the 15th personal foul against the Dolphins this season, which leads the NFL. So a 1st and 10 for the Falcons from their own 28-yard line. Maurice Smith. Not much running room. No gain on the play. Setting up 2nd and 10.
Let's just go back, Kenny. We'll take a look at the penalty, and you see why Patrick Surtain lost his cool. Because first he lost his helmet, and as we said, it was Ephraim Salaam who took it off. Well, maybe we'll try to get it after this play.
2nd and 10 from the 28. Mathis in motion. Short drop. And the pass is caught.
Wow.
What a hit by Brock Marion.
I don't know how many other Miami Dolphins are excited, but I know Brock Marion is. I mean, that was just a bone-jarring shot.
And then Sean Jefferson bounced right back up.
Yeah, he did. Well, watch Brock Marion. Again, safety's over the top, and this is what happens when you play cover 2. You're free to just hunt, and he nails Sean Jefferson.
And Jefferson did pick up the first down.
Jefferson, that's a great job by him hanging on to the football after taking that kind of a hit from Brock Marion.
So the Falcons on the move. Remember, moments ago they faced 2nd and 27, but picked up the first down on the personal foul committed by Patrick Surtain. And they are now on the 38-yard line.
The spot. We will take a look.
So the Dolphins challenging the spot of the football.
That's going to be a tough challenge because, again, you need indisputable visual evidence to overturn the play. And because of where it is, it's not like it's on a yard line. It's not like it's on the 20-yard line. It's between yard lines. That's always tough to tell exactly where the ball reached, what point the ball reached, because you've got a depth perception problem.
I think the Dolphins have a point here.
Well, it looked like it was short from that perspective.
You can see the chain up in the top right corner of the screen at the 38-yard line.
He had to get to the 38. He had to get the ball to the 38. But again, it has to be indisputable that, in fact, he did not get to the 38.
So Bernie Kukar will decide whether or not Jefferson did reach the 38-yard line. Tough from that angle.
You can't tell anything. That angle won't overturn it. This angle may. And here he is right here.
I think that's the best
close.
look at it.
That's the closest one, because there's the 38. But again, you just don't have. And then here, that looks like it. I mean, it looks like it, Kenny. It looks as if he came up a bit short, but I don't know if that would, if you'd say, well, that's absolutely no question he didn't reach the 38-yard line, because it was spotted by an official who was right there on the sideline with the exact perspective that you want.
So it will either be 1st and 10 or 3rd and 1, depending on Bernie Kukar's interpretation.
You could flip a coin.
After
on this
reviewing the play, the runner was stopped at the 37-yard line, short of the line to gain. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
All right, good. I mean, I think they used the judgment, and I think that they were right on it. There's the 37, right? There's the hit right there, and there's the 37. So that was indisputable to the officials. Now the Falcons are in 3rd down, and the Falcons, if this is no small thing, even to be 3rd and 1, the Falcons are the worst team in the league at 3rd down conversions.
Maurice Smith, Moreland Greenwood, the rookie out of Syracuse, wrapped him up.
You know, you can teach some things in the National Football League. You can teach the right steps and the right defenses, but you can't teach instinct, and Moreland Greenwood has got instinct. Watch him. He just flows to this ball. He comes outside. He gets low, and he uses that great upper body strength that made him a heavyweight wrestling champion in New York State, and makes a big play here.
He did not even play football until his junior year in high school.
Well, he thought he came from Jamaica, and he said, football, you don't even play the game with your foot. Only the kickers touch the ball with their foot, so he thought it was kind of a joke.
Jeff Ogden breaks one tackle. Still on his feet. Ogden across the 40 to the 45. Big return by Ogden. Terrific field position for the Dolphins.
After the last play, there was a taunting penalty called against Terry Cousin, and Dave Wannstedt was hot. They lost a lot of field position on it, and you could see Wannstedt's reaction saying there is no place for that. Not on his team, not at this point in the season. And Cousin looked like he disagreed with the call. It's a new penalty this year. You're not allowed to use foul language or get in an opposing player's face, and I think it's a good rule. I think it's something that needs to be eliminated. See Dave Wannstedt talking it over with Bernie Kukar.
15-yard penalty following a 30-yard return by Ogden. Terry Cousin spent last year as a member of the Atlanta Falcons.
It's one of those judgment calls too, you know, Kenny. Here's let's take a look. Here's Cousin.
That 15-yard penalty was for taunting on number 21
there
defense.
He was on. I mean, he was in his face. He was on him. It really comes down to what he said. There again, there's Dave Wannstedt's reaction.
So the Dolphins force back 15 yards following the big return. They would have started from their own 44-yard line. And Fiedler's pass broken up. Ray Buchanan got the hand in front of Chris Chambers.
That was a nice play by Ray Buchanan because there was a blitz on the play, and so he's in a man-to-man situation, and he sat right on top of Chambers. And the biggest thing he's got to worry about today is Chambers getting deep on him. So he reacts back to this pass and makes a really spectacular play. I mean, that's as good as it gets as a cornerback. When you're thinking deep pass, deep ball, let's not lose another big one, which is what's plagued the Falcons all season long, and you can react back to it. That's good.
2nd and 10. Dolphins keep it on the ground. Gain of just 1 on the play for Lamar Smith as we check in with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny and Tim, Dallas answering San Francisco score, 9 plays, 80 yards. Take a look at Quincy Carter hooking up with Darren Chiaverini to make it 10-7 Dallas in the 2nd. And Tim, Terry Bradshaw says he's gotten over you taking the last Rhodes Scholarship away from him.
Well, tell him I never got one, JB. I was just a finalist. So once again, Terry and I have found common ground. Scary.
Only a finalist? What happened? 3 wide receivers, 3rd and 9. Fiedler off the mark.
Dolphins offensively just completely out of rhythm. Nothing going right, nothing working for them. And when they do get something going a little bit, the Falcons are playing good defense. Here's Buchanan again on Aronde Gadsden. And Gadsden looked to me like he was supposed to break that ball out. He was running a comeback, and Fiedler was throwing an out cut.
Fiedler's only completion, Tim, the shovel pass to Travis Minor. He's 1 for 6 for 3 yards. Darian Gordon looking for a seam. Penalty marker on the field following the 59-yard punt by Turk.
One thing about the Dolphins passing game, Kenny, you mentioned the injuries to all 3 top wide receivers. Gadsden is injured, and McKnight is injured, and Chambers is injured. And while they may be ready to play, they may not have practiced all that much. In fact, this week they were hindered in their practice over the past couple weeks, and the timing shows it.
Number 84 of the receiving team during the punt. That's half the distance to the goal. First down.
Sean Jefferson, the guilty Falcon, tied at 7. Early 2nd quarter.
We've had 2 penalties. Both have involved the gunners, and the gunners are the guys on the punt team whose job it is to get down and tackle the guy receiving the ball. And here's Sean Jefferson, and you see him grab the gunner there, and he gets the holding penalty. Earlier we saw Terry Cousin taunt the gunner, and he got the taunting penalty, but there's always a lot of physical action out there, because if that guy comes unencumbered to the ball carrier, it could mean a fumble and a turnover.
And following the penalty, Falcons start from their own 7-yard line, and Maurice Smith gains just 1 yard on first down. Moreland Greenwood made the tackle.
And you talk about the Falcons' efficiency in offense hasn't been stellar, but look at Miami, -7 yards total offense. Their only points came off of a Brock Marion interception. And of course, the Falcons' only score came after a Ray Buchanan interception earlier in the game. And they had a short field to score from.
3 wide receivers set on 2nd and 9. The handoff to the fullback, Christian. And he gains just 2 yards up to the 9-yard line, setting up 3rd and 7 for the Falcons.
And remember before I talked about the Falcons' defensive line and how they kind of own the line of scrimmage. And I think that's happening now with the Dolphins' defensive line. They seem to have regained the upper hand right there in the pit, because the Falcons over the last few plays have had almost no success running the ball, and they've also gotten a lot of pressure on Chris Chandler just rushing 4.
3rd and 7. Chandler complete. Rodney Thomas, but he was hit immediately by the strong safety Brian Walker. So the Falcons will be forced to punt.
That's good tackling by Brian Walker. He knows his man is underneath. Again, it's the safety. It's that too deep safety. And watch him. He just makes a beeline, and he makes a solid tackle. So the run after catch there was absolute zero.
Ogden had that 30-yard return earlier, cut in half by the penalty. Moore punting from his own end zone. Fair catch called for by Ogden at the 44-yard line. 44-yard punt by Moore. Will return to Miami after these messages.
Things really start to heat up, and the Dolphins hope they can regain some of the momentum they had earlier in the season, but offensively the last 2 weeks and now in this third week here, they've really done almost nothing. So Jay Fiedler needs to get it going.
3 wide receivers, and Fiedler over the top. Travis Minor, only the second completion for Fiedler, and the Dolphins offense hearing it from the crowd.
Yeah, you hear the crowd how much they like just a little dump off pass. But I think you have to take what a defense is going to give you. And the Falcons have done a nice job. They've been very focused on covering the deep plays and the deep passes. And if they're going to do that, then you need to start to loosen them up. And a little dump pass to Travis Minor is a good way to get started.
And that was the first down for the Dolphins offense today. Here's Minor, looks to go up the middle. Good second effort down to the 41-yard line for a gain of 3, setting up 2nd down and 7.
Kenny, we've talked about the ineffectiveness of this Dolphins offense, and look at it here. They started off with one play and an interception, and then a punt. Look at the yards: -5, -3, 1. So it's been terrible, but now they seem to have found a little bit of a rhythm, and they found it with Travis Minor. First a dump off pass to him, and then a little run that picked up some positive yardage anyway.
15 yards so far on this drive for Travis Minor. Fiedler airing it out, looking for Chambers, but he was out of bounds. Ray Buchanan on the coverage.
Well, they had everything they wanted on this play, the Dolphins did, because the Falcons came, they showed blitz. Dolphins offensive line does an excellent job of picking it up, and Chambers, he got behind Ray Buchanan. I mean, he got behind Buchanan, but Fiedler keeping this ball a little too tight to the sideline. So Chambers pulls it in, but then he's not able to get 2 feet down in bounds. So right there's the catch.
Fiedler out of the shotgun on 3rd and 7.
Nice play by Buchanan.
Fiedler looking for Oronde Gadsden. Big first half for Buchanan.
If Buchanan survived that one long pass, we've seen him break up another pass to Chambers when he was playing the deep route. And this one here, he uses his hands extremely well. As Gadsden had the ball right in there, it was a nice throw by Fiedler, but Buchanan just punched it out.
So the Dolphins did pick up their first down. They did enter Falcons territory on offense for the first time, but still have to punt. Fair catch at the 9-yard line by Darian Gordon. 32-yard kick by Turk. Still tied at 7.
I am looking forward to that one, Kenny. College football.
Off the play fake, Chandler looking for Sean Jefferson. Patrick Surtain on the coverage. That's an 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific start on Fox. So you will be waking up at what time on New Year's Day?
I don't know, but it's the first football game of the new year. Watch Jefferson right here and Surtain working on him. And you see that Surtain really has just excellent coverage. I mean, there's no place for Chris Chandler to throw that ball. He is all over Sean Jefferson. I think Chris Chandler, you can throw the ball at Surtain a little bit because he's got that cast on his hand. So I don't think you have to worry about an interception. So you can put the ball up because of that catch.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Chandler steps up and throws. Penalty markers on the field as Bob Christian picks up the first down out to the 21-yard line. Gain of 12 yards on the play.
Bob Christian has really become a complete football player for the Falcons. You think of him, and he's one of the better blocking fullbacks in the league. But I think this season the Falcons have learned that they can use him for a lot more than that. They can use him as a receiver, and they can use him as a runner. I mean, his yards per carry is like 7.4 coming into this game.
Holding, 23 defense. That penalty is declined. Illegal use of hands, 21 defense. Hands to the face. That penalty is declined. First down.
Well, that's Terry Cousin again. His second penalty of the game. But here's Patrick Surtain, and there's that grab with the casted hand. Just holds his arm out there, and that's the kind of pressure that they try to put on these guys. And then there's the hold there by Terry Cousin.
The pitch to Rodney Thomas. Thomas out to the 25-yard line for a gain of 4. Kenny Mixon made the tackle. Falcons have worked Rodney Thomas into the mix over these last 2 weeks. Spent his first 6 seasons, Tim, with the Oilers and the Titans. And you talked earlier about Maurice Smith's recent struggles.
Well, yeah, Maurice Smith, and I think he struggled more because of his injury than anything. And you see that Rodney Thomas has done an adequate job, but I think the Falcons think that he has the potential to give him some big play. He's got some speed and some elusiveness when he gets to the outside.
On 2nd and 6, the handoff to Thomas. Gains 2. Tackled by Ernest Grant at the 28-yard line. 3rd down and 3 coming up.
Again, I think you see there, Ernest Grant again showed that the Dolphins seem to have regained their stature right there in the center. The Falcons had a few successful runs early in the game, but since then they really have not been able to do very much at all on the ground. They started out, they were getting about 4 yards a carry, but I think since that first couple series they've down to about 2.
3 wide receivers set on 3rd and 3. Penalty markers. Chandler is hit, and Zach Thomas nearly picked it off. It did it hit? Oh, it did not hit the ground. Or was it a fumble?
Chandler is hurt, which is probably the more important thing for the Falcons. And that means we're going to see Mike Vick, because that's Chandler's throwing arm that he's holding.
Offside, right tackle of the defense. That's the 5-yard penalty, results in a first down.
It was Kenny Mixon who was offsides. Watch the hit here. Not a huge hit.
Arturo Freeman with the hit on Chandler.
If that's a forward pass, which it looked like, that's not an interception because the ball hits the ground.
Yeah.
So that's one the Falcons are going to want to challenge, and I think they'll be successful in their challenge. But they're more concerned right now with Chris Chandler. See, there's the ball, and you're going to see Zach Thomas makes a great play for it, but it clearly strikes the ground. Now, his
penalties against the defense, so it's a
right.
first down for the Falcons.
Right.
Mixon was offside on the play. So the Falcons keep the football.
I guess I was getting into the theoretical.
Yes.
Right?
If the penalty had not occurred. And there is Michael Vick, the first overall draft pick in the NFL out of Virginia Tech. He's played in 6 games this year, including 1 start against the Cowboys. He has not seen any action over the last 3 weeks. And he will replace the injured Chris Chandler.
Let's take a little look, Kenny, at what Mike Vick has done so far this season. He's played in 6 games. He started 1. To give you a little flavor of what he can do, he certainly has an impressive elusiveness and an ability to run the ball, but he also is a fine passer. But as any rookie, he has his trouble times, and those have resulted in turnovers and fumbles. So with Mike Vick, you get a huge upside in his ability to scramble and pick up first downs running. You get a very capable arm, a strong arm that can throw deep, but you have the inexperience. So you can blitz him and you can frustrate him, or you could drop into coverage and frustrate him that way.
First and 10, 33-yard line, and Vick's first pass attempt is bobbled and then nearly picked off. Sean Jefferson, the intended receiver.
Well, I talked about Madison and Surtain being two of the most physical cornerbacks in the game, and here's you get to see a little bit of it on that last play. Sam Madison had the coverage, but it's what he does afterwards. It's how he finishes the play. And this is being physical as a cornerback. The ball is delivered in there, and then Madison just stays on it. You see his arms just kind of starting to scrap and fight and claw, and he pulls that ball free.
Now 3 wide receivers, 2nd and 10. Vick out of the shotgun. Inside handoff to Rodney Thomas, and he's brought down by Mixon at the 35-yard line after a gain of 2. So 3rd and 8 coming up for the Falcons.
As we watch Chris Chandler being taken in, I think it was Bowens who made that play. And the Falcons have rotated their guards most of the season. And right now, they're playing with 2 rookies, Roberto Garza and Keenan Forney. And on that last play, one of those guys gave it up to Bowens.
Vick calls timeout. Heads over for a chat with head coach Dan Reeves.
Well, Kenny, we said right from the start that although the Dolphins were, not necessarily stopping Chandler and getting the sacks on Chandler, they've been hammering him all game long. They started pounding him right from the start, and it's that same pounding that's resulted in Chandler being out of this game.
He was sacked on the first play of the game. Let's check in with Paul Kennedy. Paul.
All right, Kenny, in the news, not good early from the Atlanta sideline. Dr. Andrew Bishop examining Chris Chandler. The pain is coming from his right elbow, extensive pain, and he's headed to the Falcon dressing room. Kenny?
All right, thanks very much, Paul.
There's that shot again. It didn't look like a brutal hit, but when you're in that throwing motion, just a knock can put a lot of stress on the joint.
On 3rd and 8, Vick's pass is broken up. Sam Madison on the coverage, but a penalty marker in the offensive backfield.
There's another Dolphins helmet off. And Ephraim Salam is knocked 2 off already.
Holding, 62 offense. That penalty is declined. Illegal use of hands to the face. 74 offense. That penalty is declined.
So 3rd time Salam has de-helmeted someone. 2nd time he's been called for a penalty because another time Surtain retaliated and he got the penalty. But Kenny, that last play, Mike Vick made a heck of a throw, and Mathis just didn't bring it down. If you're going to have a rookie quarterback out there, you need to help him. Everyone needs to rally him and play their best game and not a sloppy game to get him through it.
End over end punt. Bounces out of bounds at the 33-yard line. 32-yard kick by Moore.
Well, Kenny, I think I kind of expect Fiedler to come back because he's been a scrapper right from the start. That's how he got into this league. He started out in Dartmouth College. He had some success there, but if you're from Dartmouth, it's tough. So when he went to the Eagles, he didn't play much at all. Then he went over to Europe, and with the Amsterdam Admirals, got a lot of experience. Then he played some with the Vikings, played more, and I think legitimized himself with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's had some very good games this season. At times, he's been the hero here in Miami, and other times he's taking a lot of heat.
Here's Travis Minor. Fiedler also went to camp with the Cincinnati Bengals in 1996, and he spent a year out of the NFL. He was the quarterbacks coach at Hofstra. Gio Carmazzi was the quarterback, and Fiedler said he learned so much that season by watching film, learning how to coach, and really gives a lot of credit to the year he spent out of football and was a volunteer coach at Hofstra.
I think his strength as a quarterback is his understanding of the game and his resilience. He has that kind of tenacity that you find more in an offensive lineman.
On 2nd and 2, the pass is caught by Miner. Picks up the first down as Jay Fiedler goes over the 3,000-yard mark for the season, joining Dan Marino, who did it 13 times as the only Dolphin quarterbacks in history to hit 3,000 yards.
Well, on that last play, he took advantage of the Falcons' blitz. And they came and tried to put some pressure here. Watch the slide here, and they're bringing guys on a blitz. And when they're up and the pressure's on, and then there's some nice blocking downfield by Todd Perry.
All 3 of Fiedler's completions have gone to the back Miner. That could have been number 4. So Jay Fiedler, who has led the Dolphins to 5 come-from-behind victories in the 4th quarter this season, joins Dan Marino in the Dolphin record books.
I think when you think about Fiedler and you think about the Dolphins, you do need to understand where the Dolphins are coming from and how they're not the Dan Marino Dolphins offense. They wanted to come in and have a power running game and run the ball with Lamar Smith, and that just hasn't worked out well for him this season. So now Fiedler's back in these kinds of formations, trying to turn this into more of a passing offense.
Fiedler looking for Oronde Gadsden downfield. It'll be 3rd and 10.
And again, I think that you've seen that every pass to Gadsden has been out of sync. So although Gadsden has been a fine player for the Dolphins, he and Fiedler right now are not on the same page, because Gadsden's on one side and the ball's on the other, and whether whoever's fault it is, it's not working.
Gadsden sat out last week's game in New England with a hamstring injury. Dolphins 0 for 4 on 3rd downs today. Now 1 for 5. The first catch by a Miami wide receiver. A gain of 14 yards for James McKnight.
Well, they're going right at Darian Gordon. The reason they're able to go at him is the Dolphins offensive line does a nice job. They pick up the stunt in the middle. Fiedler has time, and there he is right there. Darian Gordon, the 3rd cornerback of the Atlanta Falcons, who really they brought in as a punt returner, is the guy they're going after.
Here's Miner on 1st down. No gain on the play as we approach the 2-minute warning here in Miami. Falcons scored first following a Ray Buchanan interception, and then Brock Marion returned an interception for a touchdown for the Dolphins' only score. So 2 minutes to go in the first half. Atlanta and Miami. We'll have scores and highlights from around the NFL, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
Chris Collinsworth talked about the completeness of the Pittsburgh Steelers and how no one would beat them in the AFC. And if Miami tries to play a team like the Steelers the way they've played today, they'll be thrashed. Because so far, they've only shown glimpses of being a playoff team.
Travis Miner with second effort for a gain of 5 yards.
But one thing that they have been able to do, Kenny, is get a little bit of a drive going right now. I mean, look at this. First 5 drives, 8 yards. This drive, they've got 37. So they're, it's almost like a pump trying to get primed, trying to get itself going. And maybe that's what they're doing. And this is the time to do it against the Falcons defense. The Falcons defense struggled all season long in these 2-minute situations.
4 wide receivers for the Dolphins. On 3rd and 5. Fiedler looked right, then turns left and takes off. Picks up the first down and more. Down to the Falcons' 17-yard line, a gain of 13 yards on the play.
And when Jay Fiedler is at his best, these are the kinds of plays that he's able to make. And really, I think if you're going to compare him to someone, he reminds you most of Rich Gannon, because he makes a read, he doesn't see his receiver, he feels pressure, and then he senses that opening somehow, and then he has enough athleticism to take advantage of it.
He's the Dolphins' second leading rusher on the season, close to 300 yards. First and 10 from the Atlanta 17. Off the play fake to Minor. Fiedler dumps it off to Minor. Inside the 10, inside the 5.
Beautiful.
Dives for the end zone. Touchdown.
Outstanding blocking up front, and Travis Minor follows his blockers to perfection. Todd Perry and Heath Irwin made a mini wall out there and just rolled the Falcons defenders. And Minor took advantage of it. There you go. Not only a drive, but a successful drive and the first offensive touchdown for Miami. And I want you to watch Irwin and Perry. Look at these two guys right here. Watch what they do. And there's Keith Brooking. He's their target. And look at them seal. They get the seal. They create a little wall. And Travis Minor does a very nice job of playing off it. Watch Minor here. Watch him make the break. He draws Brooking, breaks back, and accelerates. It may not have been a spectacular drive with a lot of flash. They kind of chipped away, but it was a Fiedler scramble to pick up the first down, and then a Travis Minor following his blockers downfield. That maybe got the Dolphins offense going a little bit.
We expected to see a lot more of Travis Minor today. Lamar Smith has struggled. Smith carried the ball twice in this first half. Minor with 5 carries and 4 receptions, and his first receiving touchdown in the NFL.
There's 54 total yards by Fiedler. He was 3 of 5 throwing the ball. And then, of course, that one scramble that was a key play to pick up the first down.
So the Dolphins with their first lead of the game. From the 4-yard line, Derek Vaughn. And he is stopped 3 yards shy of the 20. Only a 13-yard return. David Bowens with the tackle on special teams for the Dolphins. Well, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris with scores and highlights, plus the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats. That's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report with 56 seconds to play. In the second quarter, Falcons have 2 timeouts remaining. Michael Vick in for the injured Chris Chandler. Chandler went in for x-rays on his right elbow. 3 wide receivers, Vick from the shotgun. Vick downfield, complete to the tight end Brian Kozlowski out at the 41-yard line, a gain of 23.
That's the kind of play you need to make when you've got a rookie quarterback in the game. And Kozlowski did it. It was a beautiful catch by Kozlowski. Vick looks like he's limping a little bit. He took a shot after that pass.
Vick calls the Falcons' second timeout of the half.
Did you see Kozlowski leap and turn in the air? He's not the guy that you would expect great athleticism from. I mean, Kozlowski's basically a kind of a blocker, a blue-collar, tough-type player. Well, watch him. He's going to run right down the seam here. He runs right past Zach Thomas, and watch him turn around. Watch him leap in the air. He twists around. Really nice play. And then Mike Vick, see there, just at the end, Kenny Mixon got a shot on him and knocked him right down.
In case you're wondering, the Falcons' third-string quarterback is former University of Florida star Doug Johnson. With Chandler in the locker room, Vick shaken up. 46 seconds to go in the half. 3 wide receivers set from the 41-yard line. Vick under pressure, taken down by Bromell. He fumbled, and the Dolphins have it. Jason Taylor on the recovery after the sack by Lorenzo Bromell.
Well, we talked about it just before Mike Vick came in. When you have the rookie out there, you're going to take a chance. Bromell gets on his legs, and he just loses that ball.
Charge timeout.
And Taylor,
the 30-second timeout,
knocks it right out. Taylor scoops it up.
Now the Falcons called timeout. I think Dan Reeves wants to give the replay booth time. Reeves wondering if Vick's knee was down, although we saw the replay, it was not.
Right.
But Reeves called timeout. Remember, in the last 2 minutes, the coach cannot challenge. It's up to the replay officials upstairs.
Let's take another look at it. And that ball was out of there.
Yep.
Yep. It's worth, I guess, taking a timeout, taking a chance, but the ball clearly hit the ground. Not only was it out of Mike Vick's hands, it hit the ground before his knee did.
Dan Reeves wanted to make sure the replay officials had enough time to look at it before the Dolphins snapped the football.
Now you have to try to keep his spirits up and talk to him about handling the ball. And it's something that he had some trouble with in the preseason, and then he focused on it. When he focused on it, he got it. I mean, he didn't fumble the ball. But then during the season, I think because of his lack of repetitions, his lack of game experience, he gets out there, and in the heat of it, he just forgets that you have to clamp down on the ball a lot differently in the NFL than you do in college.
Fiedler on first down, complete to Oronde Gadsden for a gain of 8 yards, and Fiedler uses a timeout.
Well, there's some timing reestablished between Gadsden and Fiedler, which we've not seen so far today. So the Dolphins, with their offense seemingly coming together, Kenny, and finding a rhythm, and Fiedler doing a nice job of throwing the ball, and Travis Minor catching and running, and Fiedler with the scramble on the last series.
Well, Tim, as you mentioned earlier, the Dolphins in their 5 losses have no takeaways. In their 9 wins, 21 today, 2.
Right.
The Brock Marion interception, return for a touchdown, and now Lorenzo Bromell forcing the fumble, and Jason Taylor recovering his 4th fumble of the season. Second and 2 from the Falcons 22. Minor looking to throw, looking for Fiedler, and then he takes off down to the 10-yard line.
Wow. That's exciting. I mean, that's something for Dolphins fans to get a little bit excited about.
They saw the New England Patriots do it against the Dolphins last week when Tom Brady caught a pass.
Right. And only the Patriots threw it. This time Minor pulls it down, and he gets some nice blocking downfield. So they wanted a face mask, and Brady Smith got away with it. I don't know if he had the mask. There it is right there. He just hooks his finger on that mask, and that should have been a 15-yard penalty.
Many of the Dolphins pointing up to the
but it's
video
too late.
board.
That's not one that you're going to call. Either you see it and call it, or you don't, and they missed it, and we'll go on. The Dolphins have 20 seconds to turn another turnover into a touchdown. They took the Falcons first. They intercepted Brock Marion, and he scored a touchdown. So after the Mike Vick fumble, the Dolphins moving the ball down the field.
Fiedler, complete. Chambers, no signal yet. He was stopped just short of the goal line.
Falcons want a fumble called. They're not going to get it.
The official saying Chambers was down. Dolphins call their final timeout with 11 seconds on the clock.
Well, they're saying Chambers was down by contact. Well, let's take a look. It's a little hitch pass. Boy, yeah, he lost that ball. That should have been a fumble.
But if the officials on the field rule down by contact, it cannot be overturned.
That's right. That's right. It is not reviewable if they rule it down by contact. So they missed the Brady Smith face mask, which, you know, that happens. But this one here, this is a pretty blatant fumble. Because the ball is out there. And his knee, there's still daylight between his knee and the turf.
And again, because the officials on the field ruled down by contact, that play cannot be reviewed by rule.
The Falcons players they're hot. They're pointing up to the replay.
They don't know the rule.
The stadium, that's right. The umpire's saying get back. The only thing they can do now is try to turn it into a goal line stand. You got to focus on stopping the Dolphins.
No timeouts. 11 seconds to go.
It's enough for 2 plays.
Fiedler to the end zone. They only need 1 play. Oronde Gadsden with his 3rd touchdown reception of the season.
Well, Ray Buchanan was playing off of Chambers on the last pass, and they took advantage of it. They threw a hitch to Chambers, and he made it all the way down to the goal line. And then this time, Buchanan playing off. Gadsden took the inside route to him, and Fiedler delivered a perfect pass.
Fiedler, after the slow start, has completed his last 5 pass attempts. 5 for 5, 49 yards. Shane Dronette injured on the play.
I think the Falcons, Kenny, were so focused on the bad call, the fumble that wasn't called, that they weren't paying attention to the Dolphins and getting ready for that next play. And that was clear.
R.A. with the point after. Dolphins score 14 points in 54 seconds.
Gadsden right here, and there's Buchanan. He's off. He's not pressing. Gadsden makes an inside move, and again, Fiedler just dumps it right in there. It looks almost easy.
So the Dolphins have come back from a 7-0 deficit. They've scored 21 consecutive points and now lead Atlanta 21-7. Remember, a win and the Dolphins are in the playoffs for the 5th consecutive season.
It's interesting, talking with Dave Wannstedt yesterday, and it's almost he said, geez, I don't know what more people want. People down here, though, expect to go to the playoffs, and what they really want is a championship. But my goodness, if you've been a Falcon fan or played for the Falcons, as I did for 8 years, and you could go to the playoffs 5 straight years in a row, that's something to get excited about.
The Falcons have never even had consecutive winning seasons.
Don't rub it in.
Here's Algie Crumpler on the return. In fact, the Falcons' last trip to Miami, Tim, was for Super Bowl 33 when they lost to the Denver Broncos 34-19 right here at Pro Player Stadium.
Yeah, the Broncos came out in that game and ran that empty set against them all game long, and they just tore right through the Falcons' defense.
Three seconds to go in the half. And Michael Vick takes a knee. So that will do it for the first half from Miami. 2 late Dolphins touchdowns after they fell behind early. Jay Fiedler and the offense coming on strong in the final minutes. Dolphins lead 21-7. The Visa halftime report is coming up next. Offense started slow. They did not pick up a first down until the second quarter.
Well, yeah, they looked awful, and the only points they had was the Brock Marion interception, which he returned for a touchdown. But in the second quarter, I think the Dolphins started to show something, and really it came with Fiedler starting to hit his marks, and they were shorter passes. But Fiedler was 5 for 5 on his last 5 passes. And then I think Travis Minor seems to have emerged as an offensive weapon that the Dolphins are going to want to continue to use in this game and continue to use as they make their march towards the playoffs, which they're well ahead on this one.
Defensively, Dolphins sacked Chris Chandler on the first play of the game and then knocked him out later.
Well, not only did they sack him on the first play, Kenny, they hammered him repeatedly. I mean, Chandler took a lot of shots and most of the time when he dropped back to throw, he was taking a hit, and then it was that last hit right there that knocked Chandler out of the game. He has something with his elbow, and you see there the numbers: hit 5 times, hurried twice, 1 interception, and sacked once.
Jay Feely will get the second half started for the Falcons as he kicks off, taken by Brock Marion at the 8-yard line. Marion across the 30, spins to the 32. Well, moments ago, our Paul Kennedy caught up with Falcons head coach Dan Reeves.
All right, Kenny, what did you find out about your quarterback in Chris, and how does this change things? Michael has to go with this scrambling in the line.
Well, we just have to go with the things that Mike does and try to, work on the running game. We didn't get the running game going that half. Hope we can help him out a little bit with the running game.
Your defense dominates right up till the end of the first half, and then you give up 2 quick scores. Your reaction to that, and how do you
Well, I mean, we turned the football over and gave him outstanding field position. We got to protect the football, and then defensively just try to stop him.
Thanks, Dan.
All right.
Dan Reeves set for the second half. Kenny and Tim.
All right, thanks, Paul. And after Travis Minor, Tim gained 65 yards of total offense in the first half. Dolphins send out Lamar Smith to start the second half, and he loses 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, he's met by Travis Hall right on the line of scrimmage, and I think Hall and Dronette, and watch Hall here, he drives his man back, works down the line. That's just classic defensive tackle play. So I think, again, and you alluded to it, the Dolphins' success really came with Travis Minor, and I think they need to get back to that and start to utilize that, because inside run is being controlled by Hall and Dronette.
Second down and 12. The pitch to Minor. Looks to turn the corner, and he's tackled. No gain on the play. Chris Draft made the stop.
And again, going back to the conventional run, I think even though that was a toss play, Travis Minor, the big plays we've seen him make were kind of unorthodox plays. I don't think you line him up and toss it or hand it off. I think you run your screens, you run your throwbacks, you run a dump off pass to him, and you get Travis Minor in space, because that's where he's going to play his best football. He's elusive and he's quick. But you don't want to have him run through the line every play.
On the run with
4 wide receivers, 3rd and 12.
There's the screen.
And Fiedler hits Minor. But Keith Brooking made the play for a loss of 5 yards.
That was an excellent defensive series for the Atlanta Falcons. And Keith Brooking goes right through Tim Ruddy. Watch Ruddy. He's the center here. And here comes Brooking. And Brooking just dips under Ruddy to make this tackle. Brooking started this game out by tipping a pass that Ray Buchanan intercepted, and the Falcons quickly scored the first touchdown of the game. But since then, it's been all Miami.
The punt is taken at the 37-yard line. So good field position for the Falcons. Early third.
Took that ball and ran with it. Mike Vick had the last turnover. He fumbled the ball under pressure. Miami Dolphins then scored to take a 21-7 lead.
The word on Chris Chandler, x-rays on his elbow negative. No word yet on a possible return today.
Well, Dan Reeves said he wanted to get a run game going to help Mike Vick. So far, the Falcons have not been good on the ground at all, and they're not good again on that one.
A 1-yard pickup for Maurice Smith. Scott Gallion made the stop.
You look at it there, and Howie Long talked about it. It really has not been a lot of offense during this football game. 113 by the Falcons, 106 by the Dolphins, but it's these 2 turnovers that have really been the difference. Falcons with the interception early that Chris Chandler had his ball picked off by Brock Marion. And then Mike Vick's fumble. Both of those led to touchdowns. And there's Darian Gordon.
Back from an ankle injury. Second catch of the game for the tight end Brian Kozlowski, but he's run down.
Yeah, Morlon Greenwood.
Yep, no gain.
That's a play that the Dolphins are always going to win, because Morlon Greenwood, we talked about him earlier, and we talked about his instincts. And the other thing he has is speed. And you saw it on that play. And Kozlowski, as tough as he is and as good as he is, if it's a race to the sideline, Forlon Greenwood is going to win that race, and then he's going to make that tackle because he's strong as well as fast.
And Greenwood close to your heart, another former Syracuse Orange man.
Absolutely.
3rd down and 9 for Michael Vick and the Falcons.
There's
Vick
what he does well.
takes off, picks up the 1st down and more. Down to the 32-yard line of the Dolphins.
I think the only thing that brought Mike Vick down was Bobby Christian. This is why Mike Vick is so dangerous, even as a rookie, even with all his inexperience. Look, they open up a big lane for him, and if you open up a lane for Mike Vick, he will take it, and he will make it very difficult for you defensively downfield. He has outstanding speed, and he has great sense as a runner. Balance, quickness, and see that Christian was the guy who brought him down.
29-yard pickup. Here's Smith. He gains just 2. Well, Michael Vick coming into the game today averaging 9 yards per carry. Travis Hall heading to the Falcons locker room.
Doesn't look like he's in too bad a shape. He's got the smile and he gave the thumbs up. But he's played a good game today in helping to limit the Miami Dolphins, especially on the inside run game.
Christian, the lone back, 3 wide receivers. 2nd down and 9. Vick looks to escape, and then it's Patrick Surtain. Vick's 2nd turnover of the game. 2nd interception of the year for Surtain.
And the 2nd turnover by the rookie quarterback and turnover in this game. Chris Chandler out with an elbow injury. And you're going to see he tries to hit Bobby Christian, but he puts a little too much on the ball, and there's Surtain just waiting for it. And when you're under pressure and you're a rookie quarterback, you know, you need to be careful. You don't want to throw into traffic. You don't want to force it. You'd be better off taking a sack than getting a turnover.
6th catch of the day for Travis Minor. Dolphins 1st down. Fiedler has completed 7 consecutive passes as we check in with James Brown.
Kenny and Tim, I know you guys listen to the pregame show, so check this out. Here's a quarterback Chris Collinsworth doesn't like, Quincy Carter. The receiver, Terry Bradshaw, doesn't like, Joey Galloway. They hook up for a 47-yard touchdown play. It's 24-14, Dallas. Kenny, Tim, give me something on Bradshaw and Collinsworth.
JP, I hope you're going home with Howie Long tonight after the show. He's the only guy that was on the mark.
I don't think there's anybody, Tim, that JB doesn't like. Anybody. Anywhere.
Hey, Kenny, in this game here, Minor in space is something that I think the Dolphins need to continue to get to. You know what I'm saying? Because here it is. He gets a little dump pass. And see him there? Simino is just left laying on the field. And so Minor is able to pick up a 1st down by using his skills. So again, I don't think the Dolphins want to run him up the middle. They don't want to have him in the tailback in an I formation, but they want to give him a hitch, give him a screen, give him a throwback, those kinds of plays.
Fiedler pump fake, 2nd and 7, and then he's driven down by Brady Smith.
I think they thought Brady Smith was gonna go for the screen look. They kind of gave it a screen look. And Travis Minor's the guy who comes and he tries to give a little chip on Brady Smith, but Smith wasn't slowing down. Even though they got burned on the screen the last play, Brady Smith comes right underneath Travis Minor and right over the top of Weaver.
Career high 7.5 sacks for Smith. 4 wide receivers, 3rd down and 12 from the 45. And Fiedler's pass off the mark, intended for Dedrick Ward, so the Dolphins forced to punt once again, and that was Fiedler's first incompletion after he hit on 7 in a row.
And again, you saw Fiedler with the hand motions, trying to use sign language, talking to Ward. And those two not on the mark, not on the same rhythm.
We mentioned Darian Gordon's ankle injury, so Chris Hudson is back deep for the Falcons in his place. Big rush on Matt Turk. And the Falcons got a piece of it down at the 37-yard line. Only a 22-yard punt. Midway through the third.
And then Travis Jervey comes and tries to get a shot, and he's not taking nothing. That's a football player. I'm ready to mix it up.
Certainly is. Vick to Maurice Smith. Forced out of bounds. Picked up the first down, a gain of 11 on the play.
But I like what the Falcons did with Mike Vick. I think you want to use his, like, don't be afraid to roll him out, let him get into space, and then let him give him the option. He can either throw a nice pass underneath, or he can take off and run the ball. I mean, it's no sin anymore in the National Football League to be a quarterback that can run, because that is the new order. You have to have both today to be incredibly successful.
On first down, Maurice Smith gains 6 down to the 44. Brian Walker on the stop. Tim, we mentioned earlier the Falcons need a miracle to make the playoffs. They must win today, and then next week when they play the Rams. Tampa Bay must lose to Philadelphia next Sunday. Giants must lose once. And, ready for this?
Yeah, this is the miracle part right here, right? Atlanta has to outscore Tampa Bay by 79 net points next week. That means, you know, Atlanta would have to win by 40, and Tampa Bay would have to lose by 40, as well as all those other things.
That's miracle.
Right, and the first thing today is just beating the Miami Dolphins, who have a pretty comfortable lead.
Vick out of bounds it.
But that, you know what,
Midfield.
though? But he took a small step there because he hung on to the football. Remember the last time he was under pressure? What'd he do? He tossed the ball up, and Patrick Surtain intercepted it. So this time he's on the run, he's under pressure, and he wanted to. He kind of gave it a pump. It's like he wanted to throw the ball, but he pulls it back in the last second. Takes the sack, but doesn't give up a turnover.
So a third down and 11 upcoming for the Falcons. Chris Chandler out with the elbow injury. X-rays were negative. 3 wide receivers set. And the play is blown dead.
Delay a game, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So
That's
the
the
play
other
clock
thing.
ran all the way down.
So the rookie quarterback can give you those kinds of things, and he can also, what's worse, is give you these kinds of things. And here's that turnover. He's under pressure, not protecting the ball. He fumbles it, tries to force one in there into traffic, throws an interception. But on the play before this penalty, Mike Vick did a good job of just eating the ball.
Now third down and 16. Vick complete. Brian Finneran. Finneran off to the races. Brock Marion makes the tackle inside the 5-yard line, a gain of 51 yards.
And on that play there, you can see why Falcons fans have got to be so excited about Mike Vick. Not just we see what he can do as a scrambling quarterback, but this is this guy's arm, and this is just pure drop back passing. Nice job, nice protection. There's plenty of time. It's only a 3-man rush, but look at that laser pass he throws to Finneran. I mean, that ball is on a rope. Look at it. It's thrown to perfection, right between the coverage.
First and goal from the 4. Maurice Smith down to the 2-yard line, a gain of 2.
So just when the Falcons may be falling into despair because of Mike Vick's 2 turnovers, he makes a wonderful throw. And there you see him there. He's trying to exhort these guys and get them going. Come on, I mean, we're in the red zone. Let's go.
That was Vick's longest completion of the season. Second and goal.
Don't forget they ran it in the red zone earlier in the game.
And it was Smith who scored the Falcons touchdown. This time gains 1 before Zach Thomas made the tackle at the 1-yard line.
Well, before they ran to the left, and now they're running to the right, and it's not working. The Dolphins defenders are doing an excellent job. And they remember earlier in the game, down in the red zone, the Falcons basically ran it right down their throat. So they've held on the first 2 runs. This is where I think you want to just scramble Vic. Give him the option. Let him run or let him throw.
There he goes. Looking end zone. He throws. Still waiting for the signal.
A touchdown there.
Did Christian make the catch in bounds? That's the question. The officials continue to conference.
I like the play, though, that the Falcons ran. I like using Mike Vick's ability.
An incomplete pass.
Let's take a look at it. Again, you see the elusiveness. He's got the option. Dolphins do a good job pressuring him. And it looked like that one foot touch, but it looked like he was forced out of bounds. And that also would not be a reviewable situation if he were forced out. Now, there's the catch.
Juggling it.
There's 1 foot, and the other foot doesn't hit. It looked like Zach Thomas forced him out of bounds. So I don't know. The only thing they could challenge is if he actually had 2 feet down. And I don't believe he did. But Dan Reeves is going to challenge it anyway.
Atlanta is challenging the ruling on the field of an incompleted pass.
McKinney, they didn't rule that, they didn't give the signal that he didn't have control. They just ruled.
4th and goal from the 1.
And I think either way, I think if it's not, I think the Falcons have to try to go for a touchdown. There's the catch. Yep. See how Zach Thomas just forces him out, and there's that shove. And I think but for that shove, I think Bobby Christian falls straight down, and his backside lands in the green area, and that would be enough. Because any other part of the body is like 2 feet. So I think that that's a call that the officials missed. We know they missed a fumble earlier, right before halftime, when Chris Chambers was down on the Falcons' 1-yard line, inside the 1-yard line, fumbled the ball, but they ruled him down by contact.
So Bob Christian awaiting the interpretation from referee Bernie Kukar.
After reviewing the play, is an incomplete pass. The ball was never controlled. They hit out of bounds. That is a charge timeout for Atlanta.
And the Falcons also use their second challenge. They lose a timeout.
Well, they're going to go for it, and I think they should. They're going to want to do something similar, maybe run it to the other side, but I think you want to use Mike Vick's mobility.
Maurice Smith is stopped.
That's a little run defense right there. They say to be a championship team, you have to run the ball and stop the run, and Zach Thomas and the Dolphins defense stopped the run on that play there.
Is coming up with the stop on 4th and goal from the 1. So the Dolphins take over at their own 2-yard line. Lamar Smith gains 1 after the 3.
Kenny, you said it. This is just, it's Zach Thomas versus Maurice Smith, and watch the impact. Wham! Zach Thomas uses everything he's got. He just gives up everything, and he's able to stop Maurice Smith, and the impact hurt him. But he was able to drop Smith right there short of the goal line. That's just giving it up. That's giving up your body to make a play, to stop a touchdown, to get your team into the playoffs.
Dolphins still leading 21-7. Smith nearly tackled in the end zone for a safety by Brady Smith. It was close.
This is where the Falcons have been good all day. They've been good shutting down the inside run. And they were good on it in first down. They were even better on it there on second down. I think you're going to see McBurrows or somebody comes and just shoots the gap here. It is McBurrows. He fills that gap and he makes this tackle. And that ball is just over the goal line. So the safety is avoided. The Dolphins are going to have to take a chance and put the ball in the air.
Off the play fake, 3rd and 11, and the pass is caught by the tight end, Jed Weaver, for a first down, a gain of 24 yards.
Well done. Remember earlier I said I think the best thing, or one of the best things about Jay Fiedler, is his ability to sit back and read a defense, and he reads this defense perfectly, because what he does is he sees a zone. And he sees his one receiver clearing, and he sees Weaver breaking between the zone. Look, there's the underneath, there's the over the top, and he sees the pocket, he sees the weakness. And in this chess game, he delivers the perfect pass.
Fiedler throwing it from the back of the end zone for a 24-yard completion. Now Fiedler can't find anybody, and Patrick Kearney takes him down. 11.5 sacks on the year for Kearney.
He does that with relentlessness, and that's how he's got most of his sacks. It's not a clean beat here. He's coming around Hunter Goodwin right there, and he gets past him, and he drives Fiedler up, and he just stays with it. And that's one thing Patrick Kearney always gives you, is 100% effort. And I would say out of these 11.5 sacks, probably 8 of them came with just great second effort.
3 wide receivers on 2nd and 14 from the 24. Off the play fake, Fiedler with time, looking for Chambers, and he makes the catch.
There you go. Remember, Dave Wanstead told us yesterday that Chris Chambers is a 5'11" player who plays like he's 6'2". This is a kind of a David Boston, Terrell Owens type catch where he just goes up and physically outmans the defender to make the catch. Look at this. He leaps, he concentrates, he pulls it in, and he catches that ball right over the top of Eli Williams.
36 yards on the reception, his 13th catch this season of more than 25 yards. Lamar Smith down to the Falcons' 37-yard line, a gain of 3 on the final play of quarter number 3. The Miami Dolphins, big defensive stand moments ago, stopping the Falcons on the 1-yard line. Dolphins 15 minutes away from clinching a spot in the playoffs. 21-7. Now Miami can't finish as high as the number 2 seed, but as Dave Wanstead pointed out to us yesterday, the last 2 AFC Super Bowl teams went in as the number 4 seed.
That's right, the Broncos and then the Ravens last season. But I think to be a Super Bowl team, you do have to be able to run the ball, and you do have to be able to stop the run. And as far as stopping the run, the Dolphins have done a pretty good job, especially on that goal line stand. As far as running the ball, they really have not gotten the run game going. The passing game, however, has come to life a little bit here towards the end of the game.
Fiedler looking for James McKnight. Ray Buchanan on the coverage as we check in with James Brown.
Kenny and Tim, you know we have a huge game coming up later between the Giants and the Eagles. How huge? Well, emotions are running high. Jesse Armstead letting the Eagles know in no uncertain terms you're on the wrong end of the field. They pushed him out of the way, told him to get to the other end. this is expected to be the most physical game of the season. A surefire indication right there. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Looked more like something that would happen across the street at a Flyers game.
Yeah.
During pregame warm-ups.
Gloves come off. Tempers flare and fists fly.
Fiedler to McKnight. Fumbles. Picked up by Gerald McBurrows.
Wow. Gerald McBurrows just destroys McKnight.
So McKnight had the first down, took the big hit, he fumbled, and the Falcons will take over.
Field after a jarring blow by Gerald McBurrows. McKnight catches the ball down the seam, and there's McBurrows, just pounds him, and he understandably loses the ball. Wow. I mean, he's got to at least have some whiplash from that hit.
Second Dolphins turnover. Falcons go back to work from their own 34-yard line. Vick with time throws. Broken up by Sam Madison. Terrence Mathis, the intended receiver.
And this coverage is just too good by Sam Madison. And even the strength and speed of Mike Vick's arm is not going to be able to throw through Madison's coverage. I mean, they have that luxury of playing the two deep safeties. And so both Madison and Surtain, not only today but all season, have the option to get right up on the receiver and really pound him. Really just get their hands on him right from the start.
Second and 10, 34-yard line. Vick complete. Bob Christian brought down by Zach Thomas after a gain of 8. 3rd and 2 coming up.
It's a nice completion, a nice play. Mike Vick having to go to his second receiver on that because he wants to go to Mathis. And watch it here. Here's the press. There's Sam Madison. He's on top of him. He doesn't have to worry about getting beat deep. He can play tight, close coverage because the safety is protecting that go route behind him.
Third down and 2. Tony Martin in motion. Vick to Mathis for a Falcons first down, a gain of 5. Patrick Surtain made the stop.
Again, you see the accuracy and the velocity that Mike Vick has when he throws the football. He is the complete package. And if he is brought along in the right way, and if he's given the opportunity, and if he just has some decent weapons around him, he's going to shine in the National Football League. He's just too good. He's just, we know, Brett Favre was a rookie in Atlanta. Everyone knew he was going to be a great player.
Wide open, Tony Martin, first down and more to the Dolphins. 36, a gain of 17 yards.
That's a smart play. I mean, now we're seeing Mike Vick. He's using his head. He's not trying to force it downfield. He sees Martin, he reads him. Watch, Martin just breaks away from that tight coverage, breaks away to the center of the field, and when he's that far open, Vick showing that he not only has an arm, that he not only can run, but that he has vision too, and that he's able to read a defense.
Vick 5 out of his last 6. Falcons keep it on the ground. Maurice Smith cutting to the outside. A gain of 7 before Brock Marion brought him down at the Dolphins 29.
That was the best run by a running back that we've seen since the first quarter by the Atlanta Falcons. Maurice Smith did it. You see there, his average has just been awful. And he started off much better than that. But on that last play, he picked up 6 yards because he took it to the outside.
Now second down and 4 from the Dolphins 30. Vick with time. He throws, and it's nearly picked off. Sam Madison should have had it.
Well, there's the danger. And Sam Madison, again, he's got Brian Walker over the top. And it's a tight end. It's Algie Crumpler. So watch Madison. He knows he's got protection there deep, so he can make the play and just jump right in front of this pattern. You see it? And Sam Madison is able to do that and has done it for years here. because he knows that Brian Walker is waiting there over the top. He doesn't have to worry about getting beat to the end zone. He's got help.
Now 3rd down and 4. Vick in trouble. Taken down. Terry Cousin with his 2nd sack of the season. He had one last week against the Patriots.
This is a well-designed blitz because Zach Thomas uses up the blocker. And so Terry Cousin comes unblocked. Watch Christian. He's got to decide, who am I going to take? You always take the inside guy. So he takes Zach Thomas, and Cousin comes clean. Nicely designed blitz that, again, the rookie quarterback just never saw it. But with nothing to lose, the Falcons are going to go for it here on 4th down.
Instead of attempting a 53-yard field goal.
Quarterback hit Bob. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
We're going to quarterback.
So it will now be 4th and 15 for Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons.
And that's another lesson in his education. You see it. He just moved his head there before as he calls the play. Watch him. Watch what he does. You're allowed to use your voice, but you can't duck down like that. That movement is enough to be a false start.
Falcons have to get to the 26-yard line for a 1st down. 4th and 15 from the 41. Vick in trouble, escapes, still on the run, looks for the change, and he'll pick up the 1st down on 4th and 15.
Did you see that? Wow. Did you see the speed? First of all, the fact that he gets away, because Bromell is all over him, on top of him, and he pulls a Houdini. It's total escape. He looks downfield. He sees that his receivers have drawn off all the coverage. Look at this. Look at that. Tell me this kid is not going to be a superstar, and I'll say you're absolutely wrong.
I'm not going to tell you. 22-yard pickup as the Falcons move the chains. Michael Vick now with 52 yards on the ground.
His speed is awesome.
From the 18, Vick steps up and throws. Wow. Intended for Mathis.
Just when he drops back like that and the lane opens up as it did on that play, you find yourself saying, go ahead and run it, because you saw what he did on the play before, and you just want to see him run. And then he drills the ball in there like that, throws a perfect pass. Look at this. See this big lane? That makes you just want to say, go ahead and run it. But then he drills a perfect pass downfield that really should have been caught by Terrence Mathis. I mean, he thread that ball right between 2 defenders. It hit Mathis right in the chest. So he can do it all.
10th play of this drive, 2nd and 10. Intercepted. It's Patrick Surtain again. His 2nd of the day. And he has it knocked away. And it's recovered by Bob Whitfield.
That's why you never stop playing until the whistle blows, and Brian Finneran didn't stop. He stripped that interception away from Surtain, and the Falcons are still alive in this football game. And Bob Whitfield deserves credit too, because he kept running downfield. So Atlanta is going to survive another rookie mistake by Mike Vick. I mean, he's under tremendous pressure, and he just tries to force this ball, and he throws it right into coverage. Watch Finneran come up from behind. Look at all the Falcons. You think they don't want to win? Look at Finneran. Watch this.
And look how Surtain was holding the ball.
Beautiful. And then Bob Whitfield is right there.
Vick can't find anyone downfield. Now he fires for Jefferson, who makes the catch at the 1-yard line.
Did you see him launch that ball on the run? He read it, he directed Jefferson, and he just fired that ball almost effortlessly. look at Vic. I mean, that is so frustrating as a defender to try to chase him down. Never sets his feet. Look at it. He's up in the air and he just whoosh. Perfectly thrown. Wow. I mean, the upside of this guy is staggering.
A 48-yard pass play. And here's Vic on 1st and goal. Looking end zone.
Look at that.
Has the touchdown.
That was fantastic too. He just hung there. He dragged the defense to him. He baited him completely. And then he didn't put too much on it. He just kind of lofts the ball to a wide open Rackley.
Rackley not even listed as a tight end on the depth chart. He's the deep snapper for the Falcons. And he scores the touchdown on the 1-yard pass from Vic. So now Jay Feely out to attempt the point after. Feely pulls the Falcons to within 7.
Kenny, we've seen Mike Vick's great running.
And Marion is down after a 20-yard return. It's against the Dolphins.
Holding 96 of the return team during the run back. 10-yard penalty, first down.
David Bowens, the guilty Dolphin. Well, next week it's another full day of NFL action, beginning with the undisputed champion of pregame shows, Fox NFL Sunday. Then the Packers take on the Giants. Some of you will see the Falcons and the Rams. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, next Sunday on Fox.
I mean, if you get to see the Packers. Brett Favre is back to when he was in his heyday, when he was a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. He's playing at that level again. And then if you're going to get the Falcons game, I mean, hey, Mike Vick is turning out to be worth the price of admission just by himself. And he is he's a franchise right there. And I know he was the #1 pick of the draft, but how many times have the #1 pick of the draft not turned out to be everything they've been built to be? He has it all. And if you talk to him, he has a great work ethic. He has humility. I mean, he's a wonderful kid to talk to, and he just has every tool you could ever imagine.
And it will be interesting to see what happens next season down in Atlanta with new ownership and the quarterback situation. Will Chandler be back, or will it be Michael Vick? Let's check in with James Brown.
Kenny at 10 to show you what Green Bay is doing to try to keep their division hopes alive here. Amon Green stepping nicely 4 yards to pay dirt to retake the lead. It is now 17-13 Green Bay over Minnesota, back in the 4th. Back to Kenny and 10.
Green Bay Packers heading back to the playoffs. Brett Favre, 30 touchdown throws.
Right, most in the NFL, and it brings you back to the 1997 days of the NFC Championship and their Super Bowl victory. Brett Favre being able to run and throw with incredible velocity and accuracy and throw on the move, and that's what we've seen from Mike Vick today. I mean, we really have. On the other side, we've seen Jay Fiedler struggle a little bit. He's not gotten any help from a run game. The Dolphins have not gotten a run game established today at all. And I think Chan Gailey, their offensive coordinator who just took the Georgia Tech job, is going to have to be very creative going into the playoffs if the Dolphins are going to have success.
From the 21-yard line, Fiedler stumbled and then dumps it off, looking for Travis Minor. And Chan Gailey will remain with the Dolphins throughout the playoffs for as long as they go, even though he is the new head coach at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and they're going to have to do more than just this screen, because you know the Falcons, you could see on this play here, they've got it, they've sniffed it out, they sense it, and they're aware of it, and they're going to it. You know, Keith Brooking, watch Brooking right here. He goes right at it. The Semino sees it, Brooking sees it, Shane Dronette sees it. So they're going to have to do more than just the screen, but they're still going to want to get the ball to Minor in space.
3 wide receivers, 2nd and 10.
There it is. That's a good play.
There's Minor.
In space and see what he does.
The escape from Henry Crockett, and gains about 15 extra yards.
That's it. You got to build your offense around this because, you know, Lamar Smith, God love him, and he's done so well, but he's not had the running game this year. So here it is. Get him out, little dump pass, linebackers are off, underneath the under coverage, and now Minor, I've not seen him fail to make the first guy miss today. And he makes two guys miss there. Makes Brooking and Henri Crockett miss. So Chan Gailey just needs to rethink his offense here. They need to do this 3 wide receiver, get the linebackers thinking about Minor, and then you can strike downfield.
Fiedler to the outside, complete to Gadsden at the 47-yard line for a gain of 5.
This is more of that underneath passing when we see this throw to Gadsden. And I like what Chan Gailey's doing. You know, Dave Wanstead said to us yesterday that he was really proud of the fact that, first of all, that Chan got the job at Georgia Tech. And, you know, Dan Reeves told us, hey, you know, Chan grew up, you know, was born in Gainesville, grew up in America, so he's a Georgia guy. And, you know, Dave was thrilled that Chan agreed, hey, if I get the job, I will stay with you as long as we go in the playoffs.
Dan Reeves was Chan Gailey's Little League baseball coach in Americus, Georgia. 8 years separate Reeves and Gailey, and then Chan worked for Dan Reeves in Denver.
And by the way, for me personally, what happened with the Georgia Tech and George O'Leary was a tragic situation, and to me it was a shame. I mean, the whole thing for George O'Leary to take the job at Notre Dame and then have them pull the job away from him because of some things that really had absolutely nothing to do with his great career as a football coach. I thought Notre Dame came up short in that whole deal.
And now Chan Gailey will take over the Yellow Jackets after the Dolphins season comes to an end. Fiedler looking for Gadsden. Incomplete, so the Dolphins forced a punt. But first, we check in with JB.
Kenny and Tim, you know, again, as we said, Green Bay still has designs on the Central Division title. Take a look at Spurgeon Wynn, picked off by Mike.
Another opportunity to work his magic. Late fourth quarter here in Miami. Michael Vick looking to bring the Falcons back.
Well, he's still a rookie, and you have to understand, I mean, he's turned the ball over 3 times. He had the 1 fumble, he had 2 interceptions. But Brian Finneran saved him on the most recent interception by stripping Patrick Surtain as he returned it. And then Vick was just spectacular, driving the Falcons down for their 2nd touchdown of the game.
They start from the 23. Vick off the fake handoff to Smith, incomplete. Bounces away from Algie Crumpler.
And again, Kenny, we said it earlier. If you're going to have a young quarterback, you're going to have to find the balance. You're going to have to get help from other players in the game to compensate for he's going to make some mistakes. Every young player does. So when he throws it well like this, you got to catch those. You have to make those catches and move the chains. Otherwise, you're putting tremendous pressure on him, and you're taking a chance of forcing him into a rookie mistake.
Now 2nd and 10, 23-yard line. Vick over the middle, caught by Mathis in Dolphins territory. Caught it in between 2 defenders for a gain of 34 yards.
Caught it between 2 defenders. Vick just drops back. It's a perfect pocket. The offensive line gives him time. He sits in there. Watch him sit. This is perfect. I mean, this is a Dan Marino type of play. Look at it. Sits in the pocket and just knifes that ball downfield. There are 3 defenders all around, and he places it perfectly and with great velocity.
Now Christian. First down and more. To the Dolphins 28, a gain of 15.
They have the Dolphins defense right now on their heels because now they're thinking Vick. They're thinking Mike Vick running the ball. They're thinking Mike Vick throwing dart passes downfield. And so now it's a great changeup. You just hand it off to Bob Christian, and wham, he slams right up the middle of a softened defense.
We approach 4 minutes remaining. Falcons on the move, trailing by 7. From the Miami 29. Vick to Christian.
Oh,
Nice play by Sam Madison to bring him down.
Yeah, nice tackle, and Bobby Christian made Madison pay for it. Now here's another thing Mike Vick does. Look at the mechanics of this play. Look at the mechanic. This is such a veteran move by this kid. Look at him. Watch what he does. He fakes the handoff, and look at him, just casual, like, yeah, not me, I don't have the ball. And then whoosh, zip, perfect pass. Put some air under it. He's thrown to his fullback. You don't have to throw a dart to your fullback. That was a great play again.
From the 16-yard line. Christian up the middle for a gain of 2.
I think the Dolphins defensively right now need to put pressure on Mike Vick. They've got to pressure him and hang on to this game that would give them the playoffs. I think they need to blitz him, because if you're going to give him time, he's going to elude your rush, and he's going to find a target downfield, and he's going to zip it in there.
You see, the Jets have lost. That does not automatically clinch a playoff spot yet, but it is good news for the Dolphins.
There's that blitz, Kenny. There it comes.
Vick scrambling inside the 10, inside the 5, forced out of bounds at the 4.
Wow. It's almost as if this guy's unstoppable.
JB, take it away.
Hey, Kenny and Tim, the Jets failed to clinch a playoff berth. That's because they lost to Buffalo. Here's a play that did it. Alex Van Pelt hooking up with Peerless Price, 22-yard pass play. That did it. The Buffalo Bills go on to win it 14-9. Back to Kenny and Tim.
So the AFC East having a tough time.
Win number 3 on the season for the Bills.
This defense right now is tired. They've been chasing Vick all over the field. They need to pressure him, Kenny. They got to blitz.
Christian up the middle, down to the 2-yard line.
You know, I know they brought Zach Thomas on that last pass play, and they did the blitz, but I think you need to send more than one guy. You need to send several and really put the pressure on Vick, and then have one guy, because really it takes 2 guys to tackle him. One guy to make him dodge and another guy to bring him down.
Falcons will let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning. When we return.
Pocket and deliver perfect passes downfield as well. He does it all. There's no lying. The film doesn't lie.
Here's Vick looking end zone. He dives.
They stopped him.
Stopped on the 1.
It's nice defense. He's a fast-moving target. And the Dolphins defense, they respond. They string him out. Look at this there. He tries to take the hole, but he gets a shot, and Bromell is the guy that finishes him off. Still, they're very, very close, 1 yard away. It's 3rd down. Falcons, they have to call a timeout.
Now Vick had gone to the sidelines, but did not call timeout, so the clock runs all the way down to 1:13 remaining. If the Falcons score, they do not want to give the Dolphins a lot of time, so they let the clock run down to 1:13. Well, Tim, Fox tomorrow counts performances by some of today's hottest stars and ring in the new year as the ball drops live from Times Square. It's Billboard's Rock and Roll New Year's Eve tomorrow at 11 right here on Fox. Dolphins lead 21-14. Falcons with the ball on the Miami 1-yard line. Falcons will have 2 plays to get it in. Remember, they were stopped on the 1 in the 3rd quarter on 4th and goal.
Dolphins defense has to just shut their eyes and see number 7. They got to be thinking 7. It's got to be burned in their brains. They've got to stop Mike Vick. You got to expect they'd roll him out. That's the thing that's worked for him.
Christian. No signal yet. The officials converge along the goal line. It was stopped short. It will all come down to the next play.
Zach Thomas was the guy right at the center of it. He stopped the Falcons on a goal line stand before. It was 4th and 1, and he shut it down. And watch him shut this down here. Here's Christian. There's Zach Thomas. He comes through the blocker, and it's enough to stifle Christian before he can reach the end zone. And now I would believe that you really do have to put it in the hands of Mike Vick.
Dolphins with the 4th-ranked defense in the NFL.
Well, that looked like a touchdown. That is a touchdown, because you're not down. If you're on top of other players, you're not down. Christian's knee's not down, and there's the ball clearly crossing the plane. Clearly crossing it. Dan Reeves is shaking his head because he's seen several calls go against him. The booth is going to review it, though.
The ruling on a field of a non-touchdown.
I'll tell you right now, Kenny, this one's going to be overturned. It's going to be a Falcons touchdown. This will be a touchdown. Great picture here. Christian up, and there's that ball. That's all it has to. That's all it has to do is cross the plane. Let's watch his knee. There's Zach Thomas, hits him. Knees are up.
Knee came close to the ground, but it did not look as if the knee actually touched. Remember, in the final 2 minutes, a coach cannot challenge. This is coming from the replay booth upstairs.
Let's take a look and see if we see Bobby Christian's knees. See, his knees are clearly up.
Now remember, there must be indisputable visual evidence in order for Kukar to overturn the initial call on the field.
I think that's one from that angle there that you want to just go frame by frame and try to sort out all the legs and knees. The officials made a good call on the replay before when the Dolphins stopped the Falcons from a first down. Remember, they said they got to the 38, and on the replay they brought it back and said he only reached the 37, and that was a critical play, a critical replay where they came up with certainly with the right call.
We await the decision from referee Bernie Kukar.
I think Kukar has to use a bunch of different replays. And this one here, I think, shows pretty good. If we freeze it right as he comes down, a little more forward, you see that knee.
After reviewing the play, there is not enough visual evidence to change this call. 4th down.
That was close, but there must be indisputable visual evidence. Comes down to this. Fans on their feet. 4th and goal from the 1. Christian. They stopped him.
The Dolphins defense has had trouble with the run, but when it counted today, they stopped it. 4th and 1 again. Watch them fill. It's all of them. It's Zach Thomas. It's Morlon, Greenwood. It's Brock Marion. The defensive line. Scott Gallion. They just stoned the Falcons. There is no place for Bobby Christian to go.
So the Dolphins defense scored Miami's first touchdown today. Twice in the second half, Tim, they stopped the Falcons on the 1-yard line.
And again, Kenny, you do have to ask yourself, after Mike Vick's brilliant orchestration of a comeback and running the ball and throwing the ball and rolling out and finding receivers, you have to wonder about running Bobby Christian twice on an off-tackle play when you have just inches to go to tie the game.
Michael Vick, 278 yards of total offense for the Falcons. The Miami Dolphins will clinch a playoff spot, and they can still win the division. They need 3 things to happen next week. Miami must win their game against Buffalo. They actually need 2 things because the Jets lost today. So if the Dolphins beat Buffalo next week, and if Carolina beats New England, then Miami would win the division.
Well, I don't know how likely it is for Carolina to beat New England, but as Dave Wannstedt reminded us before, the 2 AFC representatives to the Super Bowl in the last 2 years, the Titans and the Ravens, both were the 4th seed. And I think that's probably a more realistic thing for the Dolphins to look forward to. And despite turning the ball over 3 times, their defense gave them 4 turnovers. So they were +1 on the turnover differential, and Dave Wannstedt sends the Dolphins into the playoffs for the 5th year in a row. The only team in the last 5 years in the NFL to do that.
So the Dolphins' 2-game losing streak comes to an end. They are now 10-5. Falcons officially eliminated. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers clinch a playoff spot by virtue of Atlanta's loss here today.
Jay Fiedler had a good game, not a great game. He had 2 touchdown passes. I think they found Travis Minor, and he had over 100 yards in total offense, 67 yards in the passing game, 34 yards in the running game. And I think that's going to be their answer. And then for the Falcons fans, no playoffs for them, but certainly a superstar in the making in Mike Vick.
278 total yards for Mike Vick, 214 in the air and 64 on the ground, but the Falcons fall just short thanks to the Miami Dolphins goal line defense.
Well, so Zach Thomas and the Dolphins defense stopped the run when it counted most. 4th and 1 on the goal 2 times today.
Dolphins win it 21-14. Tim and I will return to Miami in a moment.